Hey guys, Mr. Daldis here just to share with you the Chapter 8, Section 3, The Crusaders in the Wider World. Just a little lecture for you here to add a little bit of supplemental information to your reading and guided questions. So again, we are talking about Europe here, and we are talking about specifically this part of the world. Okay, we're talking about a little bit of Spain, Italy, up to modern-day Germany and France, as well as the United Kingdom. Remember, Charlemagne is going to kind of unify this area here and bring that under his control. And France is also going to grow, as is Germany during this time of history. So today what we're looking for is what advanced civilizations flourished around the world in 1050. What were the causes and effects of the Crusades? And how did the Christians in Spain carry out the Reconquista? So folks, as you may have gathered at this point in time, life does not just center around what's happening in Western Europe. There are also some civilizations that are thriving during this time. Some of those civilizations are the Islamic Empire, which is in the Middle East. They're going to be flourishing around this point in time. They're going to actually have spread pretty much from the Middle East all the way over to the northern parts of Africa, as well as Spain. So they're going to have quite the empire going right around the time that Europe is developing. Islamic traders, as we said, are going to go as far as West Africa, putting together some conquests. India, the subcontinent of India, is just south of China, and it'll be located in the Asian continent of Asia. Cities thrive despite political division. You're going to see cities grow in terms of numbers and ideologies. The main religions here are Hindu and Buddhism. Those are going to be the main religions at this point in time in India, Hinduism and Buddhism, which is going to be separate from what's happening in, obviously, the Muslim empires and the Western Europe under Christianity. China is also going to flourish. You're going to see the Tang and Song dynasties that are going to be taken over, and the biggest thing that China is going to develop at this time are advances in technology. Some of the most interesting technology that you'll see anywhere in the world, from weaponry to building design, how to get from A to B, are going to come out of China during this time. So what's going on in the world in 1950? Well, you're going to see a massive population growth. Okay, first of all, population growth is going to be going like crazy everywhere as technology advances, as medical science advances. You're going to see people living longer, happier, and healthier lives, and that is going to lead to a massive population growth. In Europe, for example, feudalism is going to end. Okay, the system that was based on small little manor economies, small little businesses like mom and pop shops, like blacksmiths, candle makers, things like that. You're going to see feudalism come to an end, and you're going to see cities start to grow. The monarchies in Europe are going to centralize. They're going to become very powerful in their ability to lead. And so a lot of that power is going to go from all these minor nobles and vassals, all centralized under the control of one king or queen. You're going to see Italy grow. This is very important. As we go on throughout the year, you're going to see this growth and change in Italy that's going to occur, and that is going to lead Italy down a massive renaissance, which is going to change the world as we know it now. And then secondly, increased productivity. So as people start to question the world using scientific methods, they're also going to apply those principles to businesses, and you're going to see productivity increase because they're going to start inventing machines that'll make life easier for people. Some long-term effects of what happened in Western Europe is, as I said before, the Renaissance is going to begin. We're also going to see this age of exploration. Remember, prior to this point in time, a lot of people still thought the earth flat. That was a legitimate argument. People would still think the world was flat. So the age of exploration is going to begin, and people are going to realize that there's a whole wide world out there that they did not expect. The scientific revolution, the scientific method is going to change the game when it comes to how things are discovered. They're going to really look into diseases and try to see how people can survive these diseases with modern medicines. But this is going to be kind of the most big game changer here. The major countries like your Great Britains, your Frances, Italy's, things like that, they're going to start to explore, and they're going to start to put colonies down the road in Asia, Africa, and eventually the Americas, which are going to change the scope and strength of these empires for many, many generations to come. So outside of Europe, we did have a few other areas of the world that are developed and that are finding some success. West Africa is one of them. You're going to have a trading empire built in the country of Ghana. And the big piece that's going to be traded there is gold. African gold is going to be traded all over the world, which is going to change life for Africans as they know it. In the Americas, that'd be North and South America, you're going to have the Mayans clearing rainforests to build cities. And you're also going to have Native Americans in Peru building empires. So these are empires that Europe didn't even know about until Columbus went exploring in 1492. But these countries were developing very intricate, detailed civilizations that were massive in scope and size at certain points. And then lastly, the Byzantine Empire here, they're going to grow by studying Greek and Roman writings. So they're going to look at Greek and Roman writings. And you're also going to have merchants. So guys, trade has always been an important part of history. You could argue that trade is one of the main reasons why the people living on planet Earth decided to go exploring in the first place, or to find new trade routes, to find new goods to sell. So the Byzantine Empire is going to start rubbing shoulders with some of the Italian states and get some information from the traders, and it's just going to change their world entirely. So that's just a look at all the different civilizations that were thriving during this time. So guys, what is going on? What's the world like in 1050? Well, the Crusades are going to begin. And what are the Crusades? Well, they're a series of wars that began in 1096. Essentially, what they started off as Christians battling Muslims for control of the lands in the Middle East. Okay, the most highly sought after land in the Middle East would be the Holy Land. And the thing about the Holy Land that you need to understand, cities like Jerusalem, right around the former country of Palestine, that you are going to see is that a lot of religions kind of converge around Jerusalem in the Middle East. It's very interesting to see this, but especially Islam and Christianity, as well as Catholicism, are going to kind of center around this area. That's why it's called the Holy Land, because it is seen as the birthplace of some of these religions, or at least the area that some of these religions were born. So let's take a look at the map here. And this is the specific part of the world that we're talking about right here. Okay, just off the eastern coast of the Mediterranean Sea is going to be where Israel and Jerusalem is. Okay, this is also Palestine back in the day. Okay, here's a zoomed in version of that map. I'll draw your attention to it right there. Okay, this is the Kingdom of Jerusalem right down here. That is one of the most highly fought over areas of land in the world. Okay, so just something to keep that in mind. And that is what the Crusades are going to be fighting for, is that part of the world. So folks, what caused the Crusades? Well, there's a number of things that caused them. Number one, the Turks invading Palestine and attacking Christian pilgrims. Anytime you have a group of people being attacked by another group of people, some folks are going to be upset. So these Crusaders get all fired up about this, and they're going to be motivated by religious zeal, so belief in their religion, and also a desire to win wealth and land. That's one of those rumors that you hear when you're building up to a cause, like, hey, join this crusade. You have a chance to make tons of money. You can get some land for yourself. And so if you're a low-level noble or even a middle-class person, and you have the opportunity for wealth and riches and land and adventure, you're going to want to potentially take advantage of that. The guy that's going to lead the way here is Pope Urban II. The reason why is he noticed there was a schism in the churches, specifically between the Roman and Byzantine churches. So he's going to use this as an opportunity to not only heal that schism, but to increase his power as Pope by calling on all Christians, saying it's the Word of God, demanding that you go on these crusades. And so he is going to officially launch the First Crusade, and that's what causes the Crusades to begin in the first place. So what happens is when you have the causes, there's naturally going to be some effects. So what are the effects? Well, first of all, if you start barging in, killing multiple amounts of people across cities, across countries, in the name of a religion, people are going to start to hate that religion. So you're going to see hatred towards religion start to grow. One of the positive effects of the Crusades is going to be trade increases. You can't take an army anywhere and not have trade, all right? Items are going to be purchased, brought with them, and so goods and services are going to be exchanged over the course of these crusades. And as I pointed out in the map earlier, this map right here, notice the paths that these guys take. All right, we're talking about some major paths here. You can follow along the lines, the First Crusade being the red lines here. That's pretty far from home, really, if you think about marching from France. And yes, I did say march. These guys don't have airplanes, they don't have railroads, nothing. So they had to walk from France all the way to the Holy Land, or take a vessel potentially and sail through the Kingdom of Sicily, through Crete, and land over here. So we're talking some major, major travel involved in this. So what you're also going to have, not only are you going to have religious hatred and trade going to increase, a money economy is going to have to develop out of necessity. You have to have money to pay for things. And as these guys potentially march across an entire continent, they're going to need a common type of money or a monetary system, so that way they can bring money with them from one part of the world and use it in another. You're going to see the power of monarchs increase during this time, because a lot of times these popes are going to need monarchs to supply armies. And so the churches are going to give up some power in order to get some of these armies going. You guys heard about in the case of Otto I, how he gave up his, or Otto I earned the title of Holy Roman Emperor due to his services for the Italian Pope. So you're going to start to see that power start to increase. But like I said, one of the most important things here, and probably one of the most forgotten about, is that it's going to increase Europeans' views of the world in general. People are going to become curious. They're going to hear these stories from these knights as they come back and talk about the people they fought and the areas of the world that they fought in. And it's going to make Europeans very curious, like, what does that look like in my eyes? Like, what if I went there? And so you're going to see the world really start to become kind of an option for Europeans to start looking at in terms of the wider world. So jumping ahead here to the Reconquista. So while all this is going on with the Christian world in Europe and the Middle East, we're going to have a battle brewing right here in Spain. So these crusades are really going to empower the Catholics in Spain to want to push out the Muslims. So as you can see here, the orange color is predominantly Muslim-controlled Spain. And so the Christian leadership, the Catholic leadership, is going to say we need to retake Spain for the Christians or for the Catholics. So what they're going to do is they're going to launch the Reconquista, or reconquering, of the Iberian Peninsula. So what does that look like? Well, the campaign is going to be called Reconquest, or the Reconquista. Okay. In the 700s, Muslims conquered most of Spain. Christians are going to want to drive them out. It's going to take them almost, right around 300 years to do that. By 1085, they recaptured Toledo. By 1300, they gained control of the entire Iberian Peninsula, with the exception of Grenada. So it's going to be not just a quick conflict, folks. We're talking about almost 300 years once the city of Toledo is captured, until the Iberian Peninsula is back under Christian control. That is a massive, long battle, if you really think about it. So up next, we have some more information here. In 1469, Isabella of Castile married Ferdinand of Aragon, uniting two powerful kingdoms, okay, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. And in 1492, almost just over 23 years later, it looks like, 23 years later, you're going to have Isabella and Ferdinand. They're going to recapture Grenada, and the reconquest is complete, or the Reconquista is complete. What else happened in 1492? If you really think about it, that's the year that Columbus got sent out. So it was a big year, 1492, for Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, as they are going to, first of all, run the Muslims completely out of the Iberian Peninsula, and then they are going to set off for the New World using an Italian and Christopher Columbus to go discover new areas for them. What you need to understand, guys, and there is one group of people throughout the history of the world that is persecuted more than any other group and for a much longer time period, and that is the Jews. Okay, you got to understand. Isabella wants to forget about religious toleration, which means they understand and allow other religions to occur in their country. After fighting for hundreds of years trying to get the Muslims out, that is the viewpoint that they brought to the table. They say, look, if you're not Catholic, you need to get out. Okay, and so they're going to launch a brutal crusade not only against the Muslims but against the Jews. Judaism was seen as a different religion and not an acceptable one in the eyes of the Catholic Church. And so Isabella is going to say, forget about your religious freedom, get out of my country, and they're going to expel, murder, or arrest Jews and Muslims. So very rough time in the world for the Jews. And as I said, the Jews are the most picked on group of people over the course of history, as you will find out. In every section that we discuss, or every unit we discuss this year, guys, the Jews have potentially been expelled. If we had some more time, and we'll talk about a little later, the diaspora, which is the spreading out of the Jews throughout the course of the world, that is an event that just triggers a cascade of Jews getting kicked out of different parts of the world, and that leads all the way up to World War II with the Holocaust. So you're talking about thousands of years of Jewish persecution, and it continues here in Spain. So just a quick recap, multiple causes for the Crusades here, guys. The Seljuk Turks invaded the Holy Land, which kind of set it off. Pope wants to increase power and heal the schism. Some of the knights wanted to increase wealth, escape their troubles. This is going to lead to trade increasing and expanding. You're going to have a money system developed. Monarchs are going to grow power as the Pope and other religious leaders grow. These are the effects of the Crusades. You have the Reconquista, which took hold in Spain, and a religious hatred that's going to be left for people hating the Catholics. One of the other main causes here is the Pope wanted to end the fighting between the knights. So your main causes are up top, and then your effects are on the bottom. So again, cause, and then you have your effects down here of the Crusades. So if you were writing a paper about what were the causes and effects of the Crusades, this is the information you would need. Folks, I do have a couple of review questions in here that I will just show for your information. So you take a moment, pause the video, and read this, and then you can write down your own answers to these two questions. So just go ahead and pause the video here. Here are the answers for both of those questions. Thank you for pausing that video and coming back. You can go ahead and pause your video for these two questions as well. Number one, which of the following is not an effect of the Crusades on Europe? And after the Reconquista, Jews and Muslims in Spain, what? So take a minute, pause the video, write down your guesses, and then your answers are as follows. Thanks for your time, guys. I hope you enjoyed going through this little slideshow presentation for Section 3. If you would like to, you can rewatch this video, pause it at any time, and as always, email me with any questions that you may have. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.